Welcome back to Click Connect. I'm your host, Craig Sullivan. We're bringing you another leader in the California hospitality industry. But before we do that, I'd like to thank our production partners, Red Roof Franchising and Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group, California. If you're looking for a new brand, please give our friends at Red Roof a call. And if you need some help getting your hotel transactions, real estate transactions closed, give our friends at Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group a call. They'd both love to hear from you, and let them know that producer Danny and I sent you. And with that, our next thought leader in the hospitality industry here in California is a good friend. I was at his wedding 12 years ago. I did his first deal when he first became a broker. He worked for the all-time stealth hotel broker across the country, Mr. Peter Hoy, and then he went out and opened up his own firm. But before that, he was on the operations side in the hotel sector as well. So with that, let me welcome Mr. Amit Sharma, founder, president, CEO of Signature Hospitality Advisors. Amit, welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, Craig. Thanks for having me. It's a long time coming.
It's a
long time coming.
It is our pleasure. Yeah, this is good. So let's just jump right into this. Amit,
Sure.
Please tell the audience about yourself,
Sure.
your company, and your services, if you would.
Yeah.
Please.
So, like Craig mentioned, Craig's an old friend of mine. I've been in the hotel industry for about 20 plus years now. Started on the operations side with a family purchased business, running property for my family. And then after college, transitioned into learning a little bit more of the brokerage side of things. So since 2002, like Craig mentioned, I joined a very prestigious and well-known established hotel broker, learned a lot about the business from the ground up on the advisory side and the brokerage side from him, learned a lot of tricks of the trade. And since then, been transacting hotel properties in California primarily since 2004, 2005, maybe. And here I am, a year and a half into my new company that I started, Signature Hospitality Advisors. Kind of took this company and based it on the same premises that I've learned, same values that I've learned, the same advisory services and offerings that I do for what I did at my previous employer, and kind of take that and try to take it to the next level by going on my own. So that's kind of what I've done.
And you've done an outstanding job, my friend. So
thank you.
Let's talk about your tailored approach to your services.
Sure.
So, I know you can't give away your secret sauce, but you could be broad-based and generalize how you tailor make a transaction with your clientele, because a lot of them have been with you for a very, very long time as well, besides new clients that are coming on board.
That's right, Craig. A big approach and something that I learned a long time ago is relationships are everything. And the way that you get by in this industry is not by taking a shortcut approach. You don't take a easy street approach. I think every transaction is different. Every client is different. Every buyer or seller has different objectives that they want to achieve when they are involved in a hotel transaction. So with the tailored approach, my MO is to really understand my client, whether I'm on one side or both sides, and understand what their needs are, what the challenges or the potential pitfalls could be. And I try to really, and I always give this analogy. My wife will probably be really annoyed about it because I do the same thing with her at home. I really try to catch the ball with my hands in front of myself instead of letting the ball hit me in the chest. And
Right.
What I mean by that is kind of being a more proactive instead of a reactive broker. Being able to understand what the potential challenges could be enables me to really give a much better service to my client ahead of time. Without giving too much away, just kind of understanding the dynamics of a transaction, whether it's a franchise repositioning opportunity, whether it's a short sale, whether there's any kind of a distress, whether there is a different kind of objective, whether it's achieving a 1031 up leg or down leg. Just kind of those kind of nuances and understanding that allows me to be a little bit more nimble, agile, and very versatile, I guess you can also say. So,
and you, that's really a stellar performance, or not performance, but a trait for you. Plus, you also understand the operations side.
right.
So you've got that ability to see where there's a little bit more meat on the bone where some people may not. And that's one of the things I've always admired about you and your tailored services. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Amit, tell us what you're seeing in the California hotel market right now. Are there a lot of stressed properties? Are there a lot of repositionings going on? Money seems to be flowing again if the sponsor is strong.
Right.
The people who went radio silent and they got a loan coming due, that's a whole different scenario. So let's touch about what's happening, because I don't see any deep discounts.
Right.
Maybe Urban Core will have a few, but I kind of doubt
that. Well, and again, great question. Okay. And I think that real quick, we were going to have this CLIC Connect thing last year, if you recall, right after your conference, which, by the way, if anybody has never been to Craig's conference, you've got to go. It's an amazing conference. It's the most informative and it's very intimate. So when you guys get a chance, sorry, Craig, I need to do a little plug for you over there. But I think around that time we were going to get together last year, and I think COVID had just started surfacing in the United States, and so I think at that time I kind of told you, I said, Craig, look, I don't know where the market's going to go, and it's going to be kind of hard for me to really talk about what's out there, what to do. But a lot of what I saw and what I expected, I've always been relatively an optimistic, proactive kind of guy. I always expect a very sharp recovery, which I think we've seen in the short term. We've seen a pretty sharp recovery in certain areas, obviously, with no corporate travel and no leisure travel being stymied for a little while. We saw a little bit of that in core markets being kind of hindered, which is probably leading to some of these hotel owners in those markets being a little bit more motivated to dispose of their asset or reposition their strategies. But I've seen in this market, it's been a very interesting turnaround time in the last, I would say, year. We had Project Room Key and Home Key coming into play. That definitely, allowed some transactions to happen where that wasn't really based upon any kind of hospitality metrics, ADRs, occupancies, RevPARs, or those things. I mean, those were, a different kind of, adaptive reuse kind of repositioning for a different kind of real estate play. So those transactions happened towards the end of last year, and they're coming back again this year. What I saw in the beginning of this year was a lot more transactions happening, a lot more money, like you mentioned, on the sidelines, people wanting to really put that capital to use. People that were on the sell side probably were thinking, hey, you know what? The variant is back. COVID, the second wave is back of COVID in the end of last year. And the market kind of slowed down from that initial pent-up demand that we had in summer of 2020. And so what I see is that you saw a lot of sellers ready to reposition their property, thinking that, this market's not going to get as good as it was in the summer of last year. There was a little bit of that nervousness. Also, there was a lot of transactions that happened from that Project Room Key Turnkey, which turned into 1031 exchange situations where a lot of the buyers were facing, significant tax implications. And so they wanted to buy properties as well. So for me personally, I saw a lot of activity January and February, January through March, and as well as March through June. Those first 2 quarters, there was a lot of transaction activity happening. But what I did see that was interesting also that allowed that to happen, Craig, besides the capital being put out there from people, was that the lending was a lot more aggressive at that time. I think you had programs like the SBA giving you guys, the buyers and the opportunity to really take advantage of some of the programs that they were offering with, reducing fees or, removing certain payments and things like that. That created a lot of motivation for people to really deploy their capital out in the market, obviously take advantage of these interest rates. Now we get to today's market. Where are we at today? And that's why I say it's a loaded question, because I don't think I'll have the answer for anybody. And if I did, I probably shouldn't be doing hotel brokerage. I should be doing something else. Okay. Maybe taking advantage of buying my own investments or something. But from what I really see in the last quarter, namely from end of August and the end of summer, namely to now, is a slowdown a little bit, both on the appetite for buying properties at the values that they are, which are relatively high right now for what people are willing to pay. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that gap between buyer and seller, where sellers are kind of saying, hey, look, this is what the market's getting. And buyers say, oh, not so fast. I'm kind of at here. Okay. And then knowing that the summer always produces great revenues and great performances in California, which is where I deal with primarily,
Right.
You're starting to see a lot of that kind of slowdown with a lot of those core properties, where you probably see that's why those transactions are probably happening. I think the Hotel Sofitel just sold in LA recently as well. That was a transaction that happened a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago rather. So, interestingly, I also see the rural markets still performing well. I see, the Inland Empire is performing really well. I see markets like Bakersfield, Fresno, Victorville, Palmdale, Lancaster areas. They're performing pretty well, and they're actually doing really much better than even they did during pre-COVID. So, really an interesting time. What I'm seeing on the other side is I'm seeing banks also slowing down. I'm not seeing a lot of banks wanting to do conventional loans. I'm not seeing a lot of banks being very active on the SBA 504 front, which is, again, it's one of those things where, this is where the tailored approach has to come into play, because it's just not a cookie cutter situation. If you don't understand where the properties are performing and where the operations are at and where the meat on the bone, like you said, was, and where you're going to forecast it, how are you going to know how to structure the loan for those specific clients, or how to structure a deal where it's going to be, which I always try to achieve, a win-win. So,
no, exactly. And I agree. Great insights. Great insights, my friend. Okay, so let's tackle a difficult question. What are you hearing from the brands? Because I know all the franchise development people are really zeroed in on brand conversions.
Yeah.
They're looking at things that in a good time they wouldn't even talk about.
Right.
Okay. I think there's been a little give and take.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is, looking at repositioning and things like that. So what are you getting from, the Marriotts, the Hiltons, the IHG, the Hyatts, Choice, Wyndhams, Red Roofs, and all the rest? Because I know you're talking to them every week, if not multiple times a week.
That's right. And I think when you see kind of the transactions that are happening in California, the kind of buyers that are coming into the market, you're seeing a lot of different types of buyers, and you're seeing a lot of different types of investors that are coming in. And the brands, whereas before, I think the brands were very heavily focused on new brands. I'm talking pre-COVID, of course. Okay, new brands coming out. Best Western with the launching their whole new group of brands. You saw Choice coming out with Cambria and aggressively pushing that brand out there. You've obviously you see a lot more moving parts on the bottom end versus the top end. I think when you deal with the Marriotts, the Hiltons, the Hyatts per se, I would throw IHG in there a little bit as well. You don't really see much give when it comes to the brand. I think that there was an understanding that happened with the brands last year, given all the challenges with COVID and the market over there. But what you see with the smaller brands, Red Roofs, your Choice, and your Wyndham, they're deal makers. They want to make a deal. They don't want to lose out on their franchisee trying to reposition the properties, or trying to say, hey, you know what? There's a lot of options for smaller brands. I mean, you look at exterior corridor properties, which are very prevalent in California. There's a myriad of brands that you can go to and talk to and have a serious conversation with. I mean, give you a case in point, just did a transaction where I represented the seller on a transaction. It was a Days Inn. They converted to a Motel 6, and Days Inn was really trying hard to keep the brand there. But again, for the buyer saw a different opportunity with it. And accordingly, the brands that are in that position that really want to be there are going to work a lot better with the buyer or the new franchisee than they would previously. And But I think with like the other stuff, like, when you go with Marriott's and Hiltons, you're not seeing a lot of give on them. And I don't see a lot of them pushing the new brands anymore. I kind of think that they're comfortable with their status quo and say, okay, let's take a timeout. Let's get our customers back in and let's give
Right.
them the same brand quality that we've always wanted, which would mean that all of our franchisees need to make sure that they're ready to step up and play par. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
help that construction costs have gone up.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm renovating my house. I can only imagine how much it is to renovate a 100-unit hotel Marriott product, and so, it's getting up there, and that's going to be a challenge that we're going to have to really see what happens in the next few
Yeah.
months with both the brand and with the franchisee, definitely.
Well, absolutely. And I think if you're getting a new loan right now, whether it's a refinance with, some money out for CapEx and a PIP, I think the CapEx, monies are going to, be held longer and a higher
Mhm.
dollar amount
That's right.
by the lender. And I think construction loans, if we get back to 65% as our norm, loan to cost, I think we've got something there. But I think, you're going to have more guarantees and the ability to have some of those burn off as you hit certain milestones. But I think it's a pretty good state of flux right now with that.
I agree.
All right, my friend, it's time for our lightning
Bang
round.
bang.
So producer Danny's going to put 2 minutes on the
All
clock,
right.
and it's word association, just first thing that pops into your head. So here we go. Sales price,
Hi.
tertiary markets,
Still performing well.
brands,
Some flexible, some not.
California coastal,
Beautiful.
competition,
Healthy.
team,
No I.
purpose,
Always an objective.
fulfillment,
Satisfaction.
favorite airport.
John Wayne, baby.
There you go. Favorite hotel or resort.
Favorite hotel resort. Ooh, too many to name. Boy, you're gonna load me up on that one. I always went to Maui, so I'll do Grand Wailea.
There you
Yeah.
go. One of my favorites as
Yeah.
well, and my
Kids enjoyed
son's who
it.
you
Yeah.
know very
Yeah.
well. Okay, last one. Please waive the resort fee.
Absolutely.
There
Works
you
every
go.
time.
And
Works
you
every
keep with
time.
a minute left on the clock.
There you go. You gotta be quick with it. Craig, you
I
know me.
love it. There you go. So let's talk about it. You're back out on the road. You're getting on planes. You're flying all over California, Western U.S., personal trip to Hawaii. So we'll leave that, off to the side. What's your experience been like with the airports, both on the front end and the return, and the hotels? Because we do have a hell of a staffing problem right now at hotels.
Yeah.
So what do you see?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be an ongoing challenge. And I think it's going to be an ongoing challenge for the foreseeable future, just for the simple reason that, let's be honest, I mean, people that are entering the industry right now, I don't care if you're entering on a higher level, on a lower level, any level that you're entering in on, some of it's foreign territory for you. You've got to really be able to, as a hotel owner, be patient, because you're not going to get the people that you think that you're going to get, because I think people are just trying to fit in and trying to get some kind of income, knowing that a lot of the aid and the ability for them to get the secondary sources of income are going to eventually dry up. And so it's going to be kind of a pivotal situation. The staffing problem is going to be something that's going to remain for at least the next, 12 to 18 months, in my opinion, until people really figure out, hey, hospitality is for me or hospitality isn't for me. I think a lot of patience is going to be tested, especially when you're traveling out there. You have different kind of customers that are traveling right now. You got the customers that are very impatient, that want what they've been expecting to have pre-COVID, and not being very understanding or compromising with the new protocols that are in place to keep the rest of the guests safe in hotels. So you kind of see those kind of people. I mean, we see them on planes. You're going to see them in your hotel stays. You're going to see them, anywhere, your restaurants or whatever. I mean, there's such a open mixed bag of what people are comfortable and not comfortable with. And so, yeah, I mean, traveling out there, you're seeing everybody's different walks and different talks and different ideologies. And I just try to keep even keel. I really do. I really don't want to get into it with people. If certain restaurants require me to wear a mask, I'm gonna abide by that and wear a mask. And if certain places are like, hey, Mr. Sharma, you don't need to wear a mask, I'm okay. Well, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable in decisions that I've made and the steps that I've taken to keep myself safe. And so, I'll go ahead and feel comfortable how I want to feel. But I think the key is really, Craig, to your point, is really patience and understanding. And we're all going to have to come out of this together. And we've done a great job coming out of this so far. But it is going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more patience, and really a little bit more understanding. I think it's just, we can't be so quick to cast a stone or make a judgment. Everybody's got their own hangups and their own things that, we've got to be patient with that,
I agree with you. And I think, our travel partners, the airlines, the car rental agencies, the restaurants, everybody, we need to band together. High tide raises all ships, as you well know. And, all roads to a financial recovery go through hotels, travel, and tourism.
100%.
I've been saying that for over a year.
100%.
So we band together, with our trade partners, with, our manufacturers on our FF&E and, our brands and everything else. We're going to come back stronger and better.
Absolutely. And I think right now, especially, Craig, it's really important to keep in touch with everybody and keep together as a unit. I mean, aside from doing the hotel brokerage thing, I mean, I'm on the front lines. I try to help the appraisers out, the franchise guys out. I try to help the FF&E guys out, as much as I can, and really try to offer more services than just the transactional services. Right. Because I mean, at this juncture, we've got to be in this. We're all in this together. So, if everybody's, rising together, then, we carry that momentum. We can achieve and do much more than just kind of making it a monetary gain. It's more of a, hey, we really care about this industry and we really care about what we want to do. And, that's why I want to bring that energy every day to whether I'm transacting on a property or I get people call me all the time. Hey, I have a question. Appraiser call me. I have a question about this. Hey, you know what? I'll go above and beyond that. I'll do you one extra, and help you out. And that's what we got to do.
That you're exactly right. And I commend you for that. Amit, we're out of time. Blink of an eye, my friend. How can people get a hold of you? It's a shameless plug for you.
It's a shameless plug for me. I mean, it's pretty simple. I've been in Southern California, born and raised, so it's not hard to find me. But for those that don't know me or want to get to know me, always welcome to reach out to me on various levels. You can get a hold of me. You can visit my website, www.shadvisors.com. You can email me at amit@shadvisors.com. Or you can just reach me out on my personal line, 714-709-3909. So, I mean, for me, it's all about networking, baby, and meeting people and trying to do good every day, Craig. So,
24/7, absolutely.
24/7, you got to operate. That's it.
That's it.
So
thank
I'm looking
you,
forward
man.
to seeing you. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you soon, Craig, in person.
Definitely, and you will be at CLIC 5 live and in person.
If I wasn't the first one to register, I'd be very offended. Somebody give me a punch at 12:01 or something. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Definitely.
I may have an event over there myself.
Joining the conversation.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, Craig. It's great to be here. So, all the best, brother.
Same to you. Take care. Thank you, our audience, for joining us. And I also like to thank our production partners once again, our friends at Red Roof Franchising and at Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group, California. They're both there for you. If you're looking for a new brand, please call our friends over at Red Roof. And if you need help with getting your real estate transactions closed, especially on that refinance or sale, time is critical. Call our friends at Chicago Title's National Commercial Services Group. They'll get that deal closed for you on time. Please let them both know that producer Danny and I sent you to them. They'd love to hear that. We'd love to hear you tell them that. So with that, we're almost done, but I got to do one more plug for the 5th Annual California Lodging Investment Conference, March 10th, 2022, at the crown jewel of the Anaheim Resort, the JW Marriott. You can register at CLIconference.com. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. We'll be back with another episode soon, but in the meantime, remember, be kind, share your knowledge, now go be amazing.